let's move on to the big game at Anfield, and we're going to start off with the predicted lineup. So Ange Postecoglou has been speaking in his press conference. Let's get into the team news going into the game.
So the team news is obviously he confirmed that Mickey van der Ven will not be available for this one. He said he's not re-injured. There's a lot of rumours flying around on social media that he has been re-injured. Even one rumour suggesting he needs surgery for his hamstring or something like that. I mean, whether Ange is lying or not, that all we can do is take his word for it. And he said he's not re-injured, and he said that we're just being very, very careful and very cautious when it comes to Van der Ven. And he also said the same with Romero. He also said he's not injured at the moment, but they're just being very, very careful, and they want to get more into them before bringing them back into the fold. He said that Van der Ven got through the game against Elfsborg fine. He just said that the Premier League is just a different kettle of fish, and he said that it kind of commands a different level of physicality, and Van der Ven doesn't quite feel right at the moment, and he doesn't feel like he can do 90 minutes. So he's not going to play. Romero's not going to play. We know Dragoshin, that was confirmed. He's done his ACL, so he will be out for the remainder of the season. When it comes to Odobert, Vicario, Werner, Johnson, and Udogie, I think they're all kind of looked at for coming back just after the Villa game, maybe just before the Man United game. I think that's kind of where they're earmarked for their returns. There's a big kind of chunk of them coming back very, very soon. Vicario apparently has trained all week. I think the BBC even reported that he could be in line to play on Thursday, given that he's trained, but Ange didn't mention him. So I'm going to assume he's going to be kept on ice for a bit as well. Maybe Villa. We'll have to wait and see on the weekend. But he could potentially be involved, maybe on the bench tomorrow. Other than that, Solanke, he's not going to be available till March. Maybe he'll earmark the either the first leg of the Europa League game, potentially, whoever we play. That's what he's going to earmark. So even though we are just getting ever closer, itching closer to having more and more players, we are still set to have about 10 players, 11 players out for tomorrow. So still many, many absentees.
Yeah, which is, a massive source of frustration, obviously. But 4-3-3 formation to take to Anfield as always. And in goal, it will be Antonin Kinski, who obviously made his debut a month ago. It feels like ages ago he made his debut now, but he's been brilliant, I think, for the most part. And when he made his debut against Liverpool in that first leg, he wowed the crowd at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I think his attributes in terms of with him at the ball at his feet is going to be massive for us in this game, as it was at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it'll be an opportunity for us to catch Liverpool out at any given opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And if he can play some of those passes that what he's capable of, and also even the one we played against Leicester the other week, and I know we lost, but he played a beautiful through ball to Decky, and obviously he created a chance there. So that passing ability is going to be crucial. Also, his ability from set pieces, relieving the pressure whenever he can, is going to be crucial, and just being that extra body when we're being pressed, because I think when we had Forster there, I think we just became so much easier to press, because they knew when Forster had the ball, he would either boot it long or you could put him under pressure, and there would be a turnover there. So I think Kinski, hopefully he can play like he did in the first leg. I do think that first leg game was still probably his best performance in the Spurs shirt so far, and that was his first game. I don't think he's quite been as good in the other games, but he's still shown what he brings to this team, and he's going to need a big game. And obviously it's at Anfield, again, different pressure, young keeper. So let's see how he fares.
I think what he has kept up throughout his appearances for Spurs so far is how he commands his box and how strong he is from corners, and he's definitely going to need that in this game with the aerial threat of Van Dijk and Konate, that's for sure. Moving on, at right back, we obviously will be looking at Pedro Porro, as we're limited in options, and I feel like Pedro's performances have been getting better of late.
Yeah, I think he's definitely improved. Whether he's found a second wind or what, because I don't think he's had a break in any game. Even the Tamworth game he played, didn't he? So I'm trying to think if he's had a break in any game. I don't think he has. So I do think the performances have been getting better. He's had a few more assists this season. In fact, it's gone onto the radar. I think he's got 9 goal contributions this season.
What, in all comps?
I think, in all comps, I think, and that's a pretty impressive number for a fullback, and which is still pretty decent. Obviously, going to be up against probably either Diaz or Gakpo, whoever it is going to be a tricky customer, so he's going to be at his very, very best in this game. But the only other option, I guess, would be if Gray comes out, you can put him at right back, but I think he's also played just as many minutes probably as Porro recently, so I think Porro will start.
Yeah. Right centre back, we are going to give a debut to Kevin Danso, and I think we have to play him. I think he's pretty much our only natural centre back, because you've got Ben Davis, who is, you would argue, is a natural centre back now, but he's more known for being a left back, and then you got Archie Gray and you got him. So I think Danso just has to play.
Yeah, I think we are going to chuck him in. And as much as I think Gray's done well, I think on this occasion, big semi-final, we need that experience, especially that it's at Anfield. And especially given the fact that Gray has probably been overplayed over the last few months anyway, it's a good opportunity to maybe give him a rest. And I think given that Danso's our biggest senior centre-back, and I know he's just signed, so he's putting him in the fire a bit. But I think hopefully he'll just swim and he'll absolutely fly, because we're going to need him in this game. And it's a bit frustrating because we could have had him and Dragoshin, and we could have had two senior centre-backs, but soon we only brought him in, I guess, after Dragoshin has done his ACL, so it's kind of one in, one out, and it doesn't really change the numbers we have in that position. But I'm excited to see him on his debut, and we know he's very, very aggressive. And what's good in a way is that he's really physical, which we don't really, without Dragoshin now, we don't really have, and obviously Van der Ven and Romero out, we don't really have that real physical presence at centre-back. And if I'm looking at a centre-back who could bully the Liverpool forwards, who, without Nunes, they aren't the most physical players, he could really be the one to bully them, I think.
Guaranteed he's getting a booking in this game.
Yeah, for sure.
Guaranteed. Left centre-back, we are going to go for Ben Davis. I think the ever-reliable Ben Davis. I think he's been good since he's come back. Probably his best performance last time out against Brentford. I thought he was real top-notch in that game, and more of the same, because we're going to need his experience. Yeah, and hopefully that those two together kind of develop a quick partnership. I think they should, in theory, complement each other. Danso being that bit more aggressive centre-back, and maybe Davis covering a bit and being just mopping up after Danso. Maybe that's how they're going to play it. Obviously, Davis doesn't have that pace, but maybe it could go the other way, because Danso's got the recovery pace potentially. But hopefully they should really complement each other. I think they're both comfortable on the ball as well. That should help with our building up from the back. So let's see how they get on together. And then the last of the back four will be Jed Spence at left back. I think he's faced Salah twice already this season. I know in one of the games we did concede 6 goals, but I actually think from a personal point of view, I think he performed really well in both those games. Obviously a lot better in the first leg at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but this is at Anfield and it is a different kettle of fish. Yeah, and we're going to need him in that form that he was in the first leg, because in all honesty, I don't think I've seen Salah so quiet in any game this season than he was in that game, and that just is a testament to how well Spence did play. He's in great form, looks like he's in a confident mood at the moment, Jed Spence. You heard those quotes as well we're talking about, so let's hope he can keep Salah quiet again. So moving on to the midfield, in the number 6 position, we're thinking Bentancur is due to start again. I think since his return from injury, he has been brilliant. Against Brentford, he did such a great job of screening that back four, protecting that back four, and we're going to need a carbon copy of that performance at Anfield, if not even better. But I have no doubt about it that Bentancur can do it, because I think he's been brilliant since his return. Yeah, I agree. I guess it's between him and Basuma, obviously. I think they're both actually playing quite well at the moment. But it was interesting to hear Ali Gold. I was watching his video before, and he was talking about, and also, it was being updated that he's really looking like he's becoming a bit of a leader on the pitch, whereas maybe before his injury and maybe last season he was kind of a bit quiet and reserved on the pitch and wasn't quite loud. But maybe with the kind of young players in the team like Bergvall and Gray, it kind of he knows that this guy is actually, when you think about it, this guy's got a lot of experience winning trophies. He's won 3 Serie A's. He's got a lot of experience in big games and big moments. And at his age, I think now he's 27. It's probably time that he starts taking a bit more of a leadership role on the pitch, especially when you've got these young teenagers there trying to get through games. So I think he's trying to do that, and I think that's clearly being appreciated by the club and the management at the moment. And as well on the pitch, looks like with every game he's getting more and more back to his best. So I think he has to start again. Yeah, and Ali Gold also stated, he's trying to make up for lost time a little bit, because he's just missed so much football over the last couple of years. So hopefully we can get a long stretch from him now, from now to the end of the season, with no sort of accident or anything like that, suspensions or injuries. So it's good to have him back. In terms of the other two midfielders, the first one we're going to look at is Pape Matar. I feel we're going to need his legs desperately in midfield. And he's hasn't been on the greatest form, but came on against Brentford and obviously provided that brilliant goal that won us the game essentially. And at a really tough place to go. So hopefully that can give him a bit of confidence to go into this game and try his stuff again.
Yeah, he's got actually, midfield is one of the ones, he has a few options. And because he could go Basuma and Bentancur again like he did on the weekend. We know that Sarr had been struggling with a niggle, but he seems to have come over that, obviously, with the goal he scored on the weekend. Bergvall, obviously, we'll talk about him maybe in a bit, but he played 45 minutes on the weekend, but is that a view from him starting at Anfield? Was it him to give him a breather? We know in the first leg he got man of the match and obviously scored the winner, so he can play against this level of opposition. Could Decky come into the centre now that Tell's here, potentially? But we are going to go with Sarr. I think we both agree that his running power, his ability to cover the defence and his sheer kind of just stamina is going to be very vital in this game. And I know he's not been in the best form, but maybe that goal on the weekend is kind of just the tonic he needed to kind of get back into shape. So we think, given the fact he didn't start, he should be fresh for this one.
Yeah. And then to make up that midfield three, we are going to go for Lucas Bergvall to make up the three. Man of the match performance last time out against Liverpool, got the winner, and he was just brilliant. Yeah, maybe a bit lucky to stay on the pitch and maybe even be available for this game, but I have no doubt about it that he's going to put in a performance for the ages in this one, because he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant, got the winner, and nothing really phases him. Nothing phases him, and he only played 45 minutes on the weekend, so he should be a bit more fresher going into it.
Yeah, and he had exactly had a bit of a breather, and he seems to be a player that has like 3 lungs as well. He seems to be non-stop running, and I know he's been very tired recently with the games he's played, but hopefully a little breather. He also did he start against Elfsborg, or did he come on? I'm trying to remember now. Didn't he? I think maybe he came off at some point. I can't remember.
He started, yeah.
Did he play 90 minutes?
I'll check, but I'm not sure.
Either way, the fact that he got man of the match in the game in the first leg shows what he's capable of against this level of opposition. And even though it's Anfield, there is evidence of him going away at a bit of ground with a big atmosphere, like when it was Galatasaray and he kind of buckled on that occasion, but maybe he's learned from that experience.
He's in a different phase now, though.
Yeah, exactly. He's a very different phase. He's not new to this team anymore. He's now being a consistent starter and he's doing it to great effect. So the only other thing we would do is potentially put Decky in there and Tell on the right, but we are going to put Bergvall in the centre.
All right, and then moving on to the forward line. On the right-hand side of the attack, we are going to look at Decky. Dejan Kulusevski, and I feel like he's not playing his best football at the moment, but even when he doesn't play his best football, he still makes a real impact in the game, doesn't stop running, and he's got the X factor, that magic that can really hurt this Liverpool back line, so he has to start.
Yeah, what was interesting on the weekend, obviously we took the opportunity to get him back in the middle only for 45 minutes with Mikey Moore starting on the right, and I think he probably looked better than he has in a few weeks in that first 45 minutes for me, Decky, I think. And I think Ange will try and want him to be in that centre, but maybe in this game with Tell just joining, is it too early to throw him in? I don't see Tell playing the other two positions just on this occasion, I think. So I think the only place he probably would have started is in this position, but because we want Bergvall in there, we want the legs in the middle. We're thinking Decky will start on the right and Tell on the bench, but maybe the view of Decky maybe moving into the middle later on in the game and Tell coming on potentially.
Potentially, yeah. On the left-hand side, we will go for the captain, Son Heung-min, and he's actually taken a real uptick in form over the last couple of weeks. I thought he was really good against Brentford. The first half against Elfsborg, he absolutely ran them ragged. And we all know that he loves a goal at Anfield. He loves a goal against Liverpool. And if we're going to catch them out with the kind of long balls from Kinski, it's going to be Son that's going to be hurting them. Yeah,
he seems to have really upped his game. He looks a lot sharper, a lot fresher in the last few games. I think everyone can see that. And his goal output is definitely improving as well. He got a couple of goals against Hoffenheim, 2 assists against Brentford as well. Against Elfsborg, that's one of the best performances we've seen from him in a very long time, albeit the level of opposition. So he's not going to have Trent to deal with. He'll have Conor Bradley, I think, in this game. He'll probably back himself in that duel. And if we can see the Son that we've seen over the last few weeks, maybe he's got a good chance of getting on the score sheet. I think he probably has. Does he have a decent record at Anfield? I think he's scored a few goals at Anfield.
Yeah, he does have a decent record.
Yeah, he's got a decent record, so maybe he can carry that on.
And another player that's got a decent record at Anfield is our number 9, Richarlison, who will be starting up front, in my opinion. There is a option to start with Tell, even in the number 9, with Richarlison, still easing his way back from injury. But I just feel like Ange Postecoglou will err on the side of caution a bit with Tell. Maybe starting on the bench, get him a few minutes in this game in a view to start the game against Villa on the weekend. But Richarlison, he always seems to score, whether we win. Well, we never really win at Anfield, but when we draw or lose or whatever happens at Anfield, he usually is on the score sheet.
Yeah, I think for Everton as well, he's had a few goals at Anfield. So this is obviously a ground he loves. He's going to be well up for it. He's going to work his socks off. He's going to be a nuisance, and we're going to need him at his very best. And look, I think maybe performance level has been amazing since he's come back, but what he has done is provided impact. He's scored goals, he's put himself about, and we're going to need him to do that in this game. So we're going to go Richarlison. I actually think, though, Tell will come on with maybe half an hour to go. That's my prediction.
I'd agree with that. But yeah, let's run through that team with you guys one more time. So it's Antonin Kinski in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Jed Spence left back, Danso and Davis is the centre-back pairing, Bentancur, Sarr and Lucas Bergvall in the midfield 3, with Decky on the right, Sonny on the left and Richarlison up top. That is your predicted lineup to take to Anfield in the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. And if that is the team, in terms of options that can come on and change a game, you do have the likes of Tell, who will be making his debut off the bench. You've got Mikey Moore as well, who had a really good performance against Elfsborg. So there are a couple of options, even though they are, limited.
Yeah, you probably have one. You probably have Basuma on the bench. On centre, you have Gray on the bench potentially. So hopefully the bench will be a bit healthier than it has done in recent weeks, but still not at the level that we need, to be honest, to be battling. But hopefully, I think after the Villa game, by the time the United game comes around, maybe that'll be a different scenario. It's just a shame these games weren't a week later, and it's just reality, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that is your predicted lineup. So let's move on, guys. Let's just get this